So I was at a local event last night, and somebody asked me, like, so can you clear something up for me? Is your dad retired yet? I said, no. And they're like, well, this person's mother and daughter both swore that our dad was retired. And this lady was like, I don't think he is. I
Nope.
think she's like, I see, unless he's just filling in, I see the Facebook, he's still preaching.
Yep.
And she's like, but I want, now that I ran into you, I wanted to ask you to confirm. And I was like, no, he is not retired.
Dad's not going to ever retire from preaching. He won't. He might do it less, but
Yeah.
he's not going to just never preach again.
Yeah.
Yeah. He'll still be doing that, I feel like, forever.
Yeah.
In some way.
I know. I just thought that was funny.
I don't know what would give them the idea that
it must be out there in the ether. Yeah.
Those dang pastor rumors.
The pastor rumor mill.
Yeah.
All right. Welcome back to Screen Time. I'm your host, Josh, and nobody knows anybody. And I have my co-host, Jared.
The old man's still an artist with a Thompson.
And today, based on those quotes, you might have guessed, we're talking about Miller's Crossing, the third film by the Coen Brothers. So, this movie came out in 1990, rated R, an hour and 55 minutes. Our internet synopsis: Tom Regan, an advisor to a Prohibition-era crime boss, tries to keep the peace between warring mobs, but gets caught in the divided loyalties. So, besides written and directed by the Coen, Joel and Ethan Coen, we have again the cinematographer Barry Sonnenfeld. I
Yep.
always say that wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And then music is Carter Burwell.
Yep.
Again. All right. And production cost $14 million.
Oh,
and
okay.
No Oscars.
Yeah.
So they're going up a little bit more again. So
I know, but not much, right? From Raising Arizona
was $6 million.
Oh, never mind.
So doubled.
Okay. I thought it was like, okay.
Then Blood Simple was like $1 million.
It was like $1 million, yeah.
So yeah.
Okay, never mind. I was curious about the budget for this one.
Yeah. So I'll say, and we'll get into it later.
Yeah.
All right. So our talent, we've got Gabriel Byrne, Marcia Gay Harden,
Marcia Gay.
Oh yeah, Marcia. Yeah, John Turturro, John Polito, J.E. Freeman, Albert Finney, Mike Starr, Al Mancini, Richard Woods, and Tom Toner and Steve Buscemi.
Yeah, Steve Buscemi also, yeah.
Yeah.
I have two more in cast that I looked up. Well, one I saw in the movie. One I have no idea. So our girl that's going to be in probably all these, Frances McDormand, she's in one scene.
That's right, yeah. Because she's married to.
I don't know if they were they at this point.
Oh, I don't
already
know
married.
Point,
but she's married to which one?
I can't remember.
Okay, yeah.
One of the Coen brothers she's married to.
And then this was crazy. So because I like scrolling down through all the cast and just seeing if there's anything interesting. Sam Raimi is in this. Yeah. And I was trying to look and see. I don't know. I'll have to Google and see, like, Google Sam Raimi. See who he is. But he's in it. Probably one scene or something. But that was interesting.
So, so Mike Starr.
Oh, yeah.
Who do you know?
I was going to mention it. because I knew you would know or you would bring it up also. Although he has to have been in other stuff,
I'm
but
sure
I
he is,
just
but I
always
don't know.
think no. I always think of Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah, we're both thinking of Dumb and Dumber.
Yes.
Out with the in, out with the bad, in with the good. Out with the bad, in with the good.
Yeah.
Oh man,
Yeah.
I couldn't help but.
I know it's hard to like seeing him. I'm like I only think of that character,
Yeah.
but yeah.
But yeah, so decent cast.
Yeah.
Decent cast. All right. So, overall thoughts. Just quote, general overall thoughts.
Mhm. So I want to start with this one seems like a pretty big jump in production. That's why I was wondering what the budget was compared to the last one. Because this is the first one I think you might think otherwise. This is the first one I think looks like not like a low budget, like more indie-ish film. This one feels like more like a real movie.
Okay, yes, I don't disagree,
Mm-hmm.
but I also feel like it feels dated for being a movie from 1990.
Really? You think so?
Yes. Like
Like how? I mean, it is a period piece, but you mean dated like what?
dated like
The way they
production-wise.
production-wise. Okay.
Like it seems like they're still doing production like it's 1970s or maybe early 80s.
Hmm.
And yet, and I feel like in all their films it felt that way. Where
Well,
there's
some
like
of that's intentional because they want that feel.
yeah,
But it could also be limitations or like,
or
you're
just
talking
their
about the budget.
understanding of I just don't know.
Yeah.
But I just feel like I'm like, other movie, and I didn't look into the research of this, but it just feels like other movies that potentially came out around that same time. I mean, you think about like, and again, I know the budgets are different, but
Right.
you think about like Star Wars and Indiana Jones, all those movies, all
That's
the movies
true.
that came out in the 80s, and you're like, that look a lot better than this movie.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of a movie that's exactly 1990, but I would say the closest that immediately comes to mind, because I think it was 89, was The Last Crusade. And that looks amazing. But again, like,
right, but I'm just
budget, but you're right. Yeah, there's a lot
some
of
of
factors.
that's budget, but some of it's got to be like either like
but Steven
lighting
Spielberg was also way
Yeah.
more established and bigger at that
Yeah.
point, and knew
Okay,
knew
well,
a
let's
lot
go.
more.
Let's talk. I mean, Jaws. Jaws
Yeah.
looks a lot better than this movie.
Yeah, that's true. And that
I
was
mean,
like
yes, yeah,
early 70s,
yeah,
right?
yeah. So like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I just,
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's lower budget than some of these movies or other movies are talking about, but like, I feel like, if they were doing stuff that looked better and
Yeah.
honestly, and I don't know, it could be, but then he did some other stuff. Like, I mean, obviously the cinematographer, I always forget this guy's name because
Barry Sonnenfeld.
Barry Sonnenfeld. He did when Harry Met
Yeah,
Sally.
that's
Is
true.
it some like
Yeah.
more famous stuff that looks different and better?
Mm-hmm.
So then it's like I don't want to put it all on him, but I like
Right.
just like there's just something about it that feels like they're just behind the times from a technical achievement and cinematography in their movies.
So that's interesting because I didn't think that. I mean, just
but at the same time, this one's definitely better than the previous two.
Yeah,
right?
this was the first one I felt like it was like, oh,
feels like they have a budget.
feels like a movie.
Yeah.
Because the first two felt very
And
much
some of
like,
that's, I think, in this one is much better production design, and of course there's a little more varied in location and just like.
But you got to also think that anytime, because we've talked about this before many times, like period pieces, that adds a lot to your budget.
Yes, it does.
So
Yes, it
even
does.
though they're not like going all over the place in this movie, but still, just in general, just even if you're only in a few locations, you got to make sure everything looks. A lot of it has to do with the set, I imagine. And what do you call that? The set
design.
Set design. Okay, yeah. So, so that adds a lot to it too, I imagine. But the let me look at my notes because so I wanted to start with that because I wanted to talk a lot about that production wise with this because I didn't look at the budget and I was wondering how big of a jump it was. And this is a lot more actors too that were.
And a
I
lot more
think
extra,
pretty.
and a lot more extras. Like even in some of the
Oh,
scenes,
sure, yeah.
there's like a lot of extras.
And I mean, pretty established actors too. I think even for 1990, right? I'd
Yeah,
imagine.
some of them for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So, uh, so one thing. Well, actually, I'll say that till at the end. The main thing I wanted to say is when this movie started, I didn't really like it that much, and as it went, I started liking it more. And then by the end, I was like, man, that was a good ending. So it kind of just like
Mm-hmm.
this whole movie as it went, I was just kind of like, because at first I was like, man, I don't know.
Uh huh.
So
I would say I 100% agree with that. As
yeah.
far as like the arc of,
Mm-hmm.
but I would say I still overall I didn't really care for it because it was
Oh
just
yeah.
not.
Overall, you
Yeah,
didn't. Okay.
overall I would say I feel like
Well, we talk about this with Road to Perdition. You know, other movies. You, I know this is not your biggest type of movie.
yeah, I guess like a mob. Yeah, right, a mob
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was just like I think it was a little bit. I get like in the end. I think I like it was like I think I tracked everything that happened, but
Mm-hmm.
and like kind of, but it was a little almost like confusing just to be confusing sake and not just like like I feel like you could have.
It was a
I mean, I
little
get
bit in
it, like
certain
yeah,
parts.
because
Yeah.
it's almost like they almost okay. Well, let's
We want to get into
yeah,
spoilers.
let's get into spoilers. 'Cause I don't want to like because I don't want to get into like to start.
Sure. Well, the only thing I wanted to say, just of overall thoughts, that because this is a theme, because I think I talked about it in, well, not Raising Arizona, but I think in Blood Simple, is they do a lot of like classic movie homages in their stuff. Like with Blood Simple, is what I say was it was like it seemed way more 70s, like a film noir type of feel to it, even though that was made in the 80s. And then with this one, I noticed, and I'll just call it a specific scene because we don't need to talk about it later. But uh, it's when Tom grabs Verna and like kind of like shakes her a little bit and then says like I love you, and then they like he like violently kisses her. Like that's very classic, like really old Hollywood movies. Like they would do it all the time in all those movies, and like little things like that. I'm like they seem to put that a lot, and I imagine moving forward too as well. They probably do that. Like that was more of like a movies from like the 50s would do that a lot with like their scenes. And I remember that scene in particular, I was like, that looks straight out of like a movie from then.
Yeah.
So like little things like that seems like they do in their movies a lot, which is cool. And I think from what I've read about them, it seems like that's intentional. They like putting, you know, stuff that they're really into their
Yeah.
movies. So yeah, that's it for overall thoughts. Do you have anything else overall? So you were just kind of like whatever with it.
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil the final scene, but I do really think it ends very well.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think
Do
it
you agree with
does.
that? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So well, let's get into spoilers.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So speaking of the final scene, so well, I guess like it's like almost like they're putting us in the shoes of the other guy. I forget
Mm-hmm.
his name. That that's like, oh, I guess you could have filled me in a little bit, and then he like, what's going your
Yeah.
plan, and then he's like, well, then it wouldn't have worked, or kind of thing. And it's like as a viewer, we're like almost in his shoes, like we don't really know anything of what's going on.
Oh, you're talking about the final scene. So with
Yeah.
John Turturro's character,
Yep.
what he says about
Yep.
hmm yeah, he's the one I don't remember his name.
Yeah.
Did I have that down? I
mean,
probably did at some
have it
point.
in the
Because Tom is our main guy. That's Gabriel Byrne.
Bernie. It's
Bernie.
John
Oh, I do have a specific note about him.
Burnmont.
Actually, yeah, which I'll get to. Yeah.
But yeah. So I don't know. I just yeah. Like again, like the payoffs at the end, the last couple like payoffs, like you said, I think it came
Mm-hmm.
together, and it landed well and that stuff. But like, I feel like what it took to get us there was so convoluted and
Yeah.
boring. Honestly, for like half of it, I'm like, this is so boring.
Well, that's how I felt at the beginning.
Yeah, and I was like, why, what are we doing here?
Mm-hmm.
And like I just I do like that how they set up the character, our main guy Tom,
Mm-hmm.
as a kind of like principled person. Like, I mean, he even tells like basically his boss, like, "Yeah, I'm sleeping with the girl you like."
Yeah.
Like, just
Yep.
because I got to be honest, and be honest, and like it's almost like he's known, and like no everyone trusts him no matter what side he was on or perceived to be on,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Everyone trusts him because they're like he's a straight shooter, honest guy. You can trust him, which he used to his advantage, I guess, like
Yeah. I
throughout the
thought
whole thing. But
his character was awesome
yeah,
because of that. Like, yeah, like yeah, he played all the sides very well, and because of like you say the way his demeanor is, it's like everyone just didn't even question it,
yeah.
which is awesome. Yeah.
But at the same time, I feel like it's one of those things where you could have gotten there. Like it could have been an hour and a half movie. Probably
Yeah.
still would have gotten the the setup and then the payoff, and it would have, and then there'd been a shorter but also like clearer. Like, because I feel like it also was like it was just like I was like, I don't what is going on? Like, and then it's just like you random things happening, and you're just like I don't know. But
Yeah.
anyway, um, yeah. What else do you have notes in here? I don't want to.
I got a decent amount. Oh, also at the end of my notes, which well, we'll probably won't do because I forgot to mention this to you before. But I ranked the Sam Mendes movies because we were talking about doing that
Oh,
and mentioning that.
yeah,
But I was gonna text you beforehand and be like, "Hey, rank them," and I put them at the bottom here, but we can do that another time
yeah,
because we were talking about like once we finish a director,
yeah.
going
Right.
through it.
You're right. Right.
So, uh, no, I got a decent amount of notes, but they're a lot of little things. The title sequence with like the hat flying away.
Mm-hmm.
And then I wrote it then. I was like, seems like hats have an important, like
Right.
component in this movie or a deeper meaning. And it does seem like that. I don't know what the deeper meaning is, but they focus on it a lot. So I imagine it is a theme in some way. I don't know if you thought of what it would be or anything, but it is intentional.
Yeah. Um, I don't know. Like, because he always like doesn't want to.
Well, it's not even just him. It's like other characters with their hats too. Like it's like,
Yeah, I think it's like almost like a cowboy thing, right? Like they
yeah,
don't want to leave their hat behind. It's
true.
like part of their identity.
Oh yeah, well I mean yeah, mob people always got to have their hat,
Yeah.
just like cowboys. You're right. Yeah.
So I don't know if that's what it is. I don't know.
Uh, I have
Also,
yeah. What's up?
no, I was just gonna say, it's just another thought. Like, and this is just again, how to say it, like is a little pet peeve of mine. Like
Hmm.
I get about maybe say all three of these. Though I say Raising Arizona is definitely a little bit more like a unique script.
I imagine that's your favorite so far, right?
Probably
Yeah.
yes, but I'm like this movie, especially like who like who like I feel like there's like $12 million, like to make this movie, and I guess it like
Seems high.
I don't know. I just like where do I don't know. Like I just start to be like how do you get someone they say yes here have $12 million to make this movie like and so like
Well, I think at this point they're probably big enough because I
because
mean they're for
the last two movies did well enough that someone
I probably I mean I don't know
yeah
how they did, but it seemed like at least Raising Arizona. I don't know. I think their first movie, Blood Simple, kind of that was probably like a cult classic. I imagine it seemed like that kind of movie that probably over time, because I
gotcha.
doubt that one really did much of anything when it came out, because no one really knew about them.
Mhm.
But then Raising Arizona, I mean,
Yeah,
I've always heard of that movie my whole life.
yep,
So, and again, that's over time. But like, I imagine
yeah,
even by 1990, or well, I guess let's say 89 when they were probably filming
yeah.
this, which was that would have been only 2 years after. Yeah,
Arizona, yeah.
Raising Arizona was 87. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean,
I know. I'm like because I'm like, I don't know. Just yeah, just me being
well, just wait till we keep going. I bet there's eventually some astronomical budgets for these movies, or maybe not. Maybe they just end up like even later on doing really well, like with
yeah maybe I don't know.
moderate budgets. I don't know. Actually, I have no idea. But we were talking about we're getting our boy Deacons comes in at some point, so he's got to get paid well.
Yeah.
So
You know that. So speaking of,
yeah,
I would love to see and compare a movie that Deacons did in like 89 or 90 just to see. And maybe we can
yeah.
maybe I can even find one in the same similar budget range, like a 10 to $15 million movie budget estimated that he DV'd in that same like basic couple years there, and just to compare because like
Yeah.
I think that's not the only thing that like again I think it's some of it's the script, some of it's the editing,
Hmm.
and then some of it's the cinematography that like all rubs me the wrong way.
Well, that's a lot to blame on the Coens too. I mean,
Yeah,
they directed and wrote it. Um,
yeah.
did
And
they
that's
edit
what
it too?
they do normally.
Okay.
I didn't double check on this one, but like there's a pseudonym that they put as the editor. That's like basically the two of them editing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Um, yes. The idea of that's cool. But yes, you're right. So if they're doing it all, then there's yeah. Anyway, I don't want to keep harping on this.
No, but I mean it.
I'm looking forward to hopefully liking something because in general, I really haven't really liked any of this stuff yet.
No, I know. Well, no, you liked Raising Arizona.
That was all right.
I see. I thought you liked it more than that.
I don't know. What did I say on the podcast?
I think you said you liked it
I think I said
a decent amount. I don't know.
I don't know. I think I said I was like it was okay.
Okay. Well,
At least that's how I feel now. Like having
in
a
retrospect,
week or so distance of it. Yeah.
well,
It was just bizarre, like goofy. Like there was
it is.
there was some
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
I would say
It's like a cartoon. That was a good way you explained
yes,
it. It's very
and
cartoonish.
I do like. I think there were some scenes I liked better in Raising Arizona than this movie for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Well, and speaking of that though, because I have a note about that too, is like the cartoon silliness. There's a little bit of that in every movie of theirs.
yes,
Like
yes,
even moving forward,
okay,
no matter what type of movie it is, because well, here I'll jump to that now. How to word it? Yeah, there's always some silliness and levity. Like, let's see. This is a scene where Leo is sitting at the desk talking to Tom,
mm-hmm.
and they're having a serious conversation, but Leo is drinking a glass bottle of soda with a straw and really going to town on it. Like it's like little things like that that I feel like they do a lot in their movies.
Okay.
In a scene like that where it's a very serious
but at the
conversation.
same time, like I think I could appreciate that.
Yeah.
If I was liking everything else.
Right.
So
Yeah. Well, we'll see going forward because what you were just telling me before we started recording, that's interesting. Like you said, you haven't seen really anything of theirs?
I don't think
Not
so.
that you know of?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that'll be cool to see.
Yeah. All. I mean, yeah.
It'd be interesting. We go through all these and you end up being like, I don't like any Coen Brothers. That'd be crazy.
I mean,
it could happen.
Probably not going to happen. But
No. Hey, and even if you do end up not liking any of them, you're gonna have your boy at least for some of them.
I know,
Deacon,
and that's where it's like
yeah.
even if I'm not love the story, I'm sure it'll be pretty.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah,
because like Jarhead, like I didn't like love that movie, but
man, the way it looked though,
there's some pretty stuff in that.
Oh, the other part that I wanted to point out that I just thought was funny and really random is Johnny asking his son basically why he's so fat and what he ate today. That was funny.
Yes,
because is it his wife that's like with him first?
Yeah,
like basically like
she's like the doctor says.
Dude, that was I like that. That was great. So like yeah, little things like that just come out of nowhere. The other I wanted to mention two characters mainly that I think were the best in this. And one of them is Steve Buscemi, which I was surprised. He's in one scene and that's it. I thought he was going to be in it more. But he's just like,
he's great.
He never stopped talking.
Yeah.
He just kept going. It was funny also thinking about like this little precursor to Boardwalk Empire.
Okay, yeah.
Because, I mean, different character, but kind of similar.
Yeah.
So that was interesting. My only other note about him was has he looked the same his whole life?
He always looked kind of like an old man. So then
It's
as he aged, he's like, it's like
yeah,
Steve
it's
Martin. Steve Martin always looked old,
hmm
even though he wasn't that old. And then, so then, like for years, it looked like he was the same. He never aged.
We were just on Film Banter when we did Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. We were like, because I think that was also 87 actually, or around then when that movie came out. And I was like, has Steve Martin always had white hair? Because he had it in that. And
Yep.
like,
Did you ever see The Jerk?
oh yeah.
Yeah.
What did his hair look like in that? I don't remember.
I think it's not as white. It's a little bit more gray and
Okay,
white,
but it was
but it's
getting there.
still, yeah, it was getting there.
That's crazy. Yeah, it's just anyway. But yeah, so yeah, Steve Buscemi has just always looked the
Yeah.
same. I mean, he has a very very unique face anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I thought he was
scrangly old man.
yeah, pretty much. But yeah, he was one of my favorites in this. And then the other person is that I thought was the best was John Turturro.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and his name in this is the note I had. Bernie Birnbaum is the most gangster sounding name of all time. Like that's such a gangster name, like mafia name.
Yeah.
Is because I don't think you ever hear his last name. I had to look it up.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So anyway, that was funny. But yeah, he was, and I'll talk about a scene later that I think is one of the best. That I'm sure you know. I'm gonna mention it's actually part of the cover of the movie.
I don't know.
Like they show it. They show it in the.
Okay. I don't know what's in the cover, but okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's yeah. Well, so we can move to like. So I don't want to. I kind of touched on a lot of those thoughts on cinematography already, and kind of
Mm-hmm.
talking about that. But I'll say like my favorite scene, and some of it's because there was some interesting or camera work, I guess, in this as well, is when they attack him at his Leo's house when Leo gets attacked.
Yeah. This is one of the scenes I was going to mention.
Okay, yeah,
I think this is one of the best scenes.
Yeah, and yeah, it was just the way some of the stuff that was blocked and shot and that, and thought it was pretty good. Like it was probably also the most entertaining part of the movie.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I
Like, oh, we blew our whole budget on this action scene.
probably because I was going to mention it's an insane amount of bullets that go off in this scene.
Yes.
And I do like how they continue it through, like him on the street,
Mm-hmm.
and then just still shooting as the
I mean,
car's going away.
it's so ridiculous is that the car's going down the driveway or whatever, and he's like shooting him, and then like it hits the tree and goes up in flames.
Yeah.
But
That's a very
yeah,
this type of movie
Yep.
kind of scene
Yep.
for sure. Yeah. Well, if you're talking about cinematography, I mean I don't really have anything. The only thing I thought that was cool that I don't think they did in either of the other two movies so far. It was a shot. I don't know exactly where he was, but he was like walking toward a bar, and it was like a quick, fast, like 180 move of the camera.
Hmm.
It was like facing him, and then it went 180 and like then faced the bartender when he was walking toward him and like talking to him. I thought that was cool. That was like one of the things that I was like, oh, this is a kind of cool. But then I don't think they did it again. I thought that was going to be like a thing in the movie, but I think it was just a one-time thing. But yeah, I mean, yeah, this is not really either one of our guy cinematography wise. He's, but I mean, also that's probably why I don't think he does many more with them anyway, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know when's the switch over to somebody
I'm not
else.
sure.
Yeah, we'll find out in 2 weeks.
Do you have anything else scene wise?
No, nothing else specific. No.
Well, just have a quick thing.
Mm-hmm.
This was another like thing that was just like, again, brings the silliness in.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of also is a kind of a mob movie trope is when like all the different times that Tom goes to visit Verna, and every time she just like shuts the door in his face every single time. Actually, I think it got even more like aggressive every time he would go visit her. That was funny. So the other scene, the scene I wanted to mention with John Turturro that I think is the best is when Tom takes him into the woods and is told to kill him. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think that's one of the best. It's also one of the best scenes besides the other one we mentioned, I think. But well, besides the ending was great too. But that scene in particular, I liked how I liked his acting in it a lot, John Turturro's in that scene.
Mm-hmm.
It was very convincing. Um, Also, I liked how they made sure to because whatever the guys that was with Tom before he took him out was like explaining like how he needs to kill him in the two shots, and I like how they managed to show him doing both of those shots.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, he didn't kill him, but making sure to like do those two shots so they think that he did. So I like that, and I
Yeah.
think yeah, that's it for that. Yep.
I was just getting Trevi already.
Oh, I know. I forgot about that. We haven't done that every time.
Nah, because yeah, Claudia wasn't here, so kind of forgot about it. But
Yeah,
it's good
I
to at
think we
least
did the past couple times.
yeah.
You know, we did on Empire of Light. We remembered that time, which is, but I don't think we did it for
We
any
haven't
of
done it
these.
on any of these.
Yeah, we haven't done on any of these. Yeah,
Basically, I forgot when coming back and
yeah.
yeah. It's about the music, and the score.
I mean, I don't really have much to say about it because again, there's not a lot. There's like the main theme that's like very Irish
Mm-hmm.
sounding, which is makes sense. This is Irish mafia.
Yeah.
But I am interested to see since he is like basically in every single, like I think almost all of them is he's composing for the Coen Brothers. So I am interested to see what he does and if not only me but you also can pick up like his style like you kind of could for Thomas Newman.
Yeah,
and
so
all that.
far, like it. Yeah,
There hasn't been much so far.
no.
Yeah, so but I know there will be, especially if of the movies I've seen of the Coens, and now knowing that I think he did almost all of them, which is interesting. So there will be a lot to come. So yeah, I'm interested to see how he's gonna do because I feel like he's gonna have a lot of range, score wise, with a lot of these movies coming up.
All right, so overall themes.
I mean, I don't really have much of this. It's the only thing I
Don't
have
get
was
messed up with the mom.
yeah, don't do that. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I just have loyalty. I mean, but that's a big thing in not only this movie but any kind of
Yeah.
mob movie. Um, this movie seems in favor of more morally gray and drawing lines between right and wrong. That seems to be a big thing in this too. That's about it though that I have. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of the loyalty stuff. I think, like I kind of said before, like just how almost like um, candid honesty can get you a long way, like a respect.
True.
Like I think that was kind of the theme of the main character was he was just so candid and honest about something that almost like he was respected on and like kind of by everybody no matter which side but then he knew it and he was able to kind of use it to his own advantage and his little
Yeah.
plot that he did. So I think that was kind of the takeaway,
Yeah.
which is not not bad. I mean, I think honesty obviously is a great trait to, but like there are ways to be not as brutally honest sometimes, and he
Yes.
kind of was didn't curve the honesty or
Mm-mm.
soften it a little bit just to make sure it wasn't he didn't get himself in trouble sometimes. But
Right.
that was part of his character. So
Yeah, for sure.
I think there's not a lot of good
So
trivia,
did you find anything?
but the main one was funny is
Okay.
writing this movie. Joe and Ethan Coen suffered writer's block. And
Hmm.
so they took a 3-week break. And while they were on the 3-week break, they wrote Barton Fink,
Whoa.
a film about a writer with a writer's block.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other funny thing is then with that, the name of Tom Regan's residence is the Barton Arms. In one of the newspapers, an article reads 7 dead in hotel fire, another reference to Barton Fink. So there was like, they were able to put
That's
like
cool.
Easter eggs in
For their
this movie
upcoming.
for the
That's
next movie
awesome.
because they basically had written that movie already. Cause,
That's an awesome idea to do.
yeah.
I wish they could do that with like every movie and like tease out the next one in the movie.
Pixar normally does.
Oh yeah, that's true.
That's because I mean it takes them how many years to
Right,
make a movie.
yeah.
So they, Steve Buscemi was cast as Mink because he could speak faster than anyone else.
You definitely could.
Yes. Albert Finney is in drag in black as a matron in dress black and black and white on the left as Tom enters the ladies' restroom.
Really?
Yes.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So anyway, there's just a little bit of trivia. But
Some of the later ones, yeah, we're definitely gonna look up trivia, like for some of these big ones, especially because I
yeah,
imagine there's gonna be a lot.
especially as they get just the like funny like because they work with a lot of the same people over and
Mhm.
over. I'm sure it kind of creates a little more interesting dynamic.
Yeah.
There might be some trivia, but
I'm really excited for Barton Fink because I heard it's really good and I've never seen it.
Yeah.
Josh is tired. He's had
Yeah,
a long day.
it's been a long day. Yeah, it's been a long day. Yes, you can follow either of us on Instagram or follow Screen Time, screen_time_pod at Instagram. But I'm at J Youngbar on Instagram.
And I'm at Jerry Youngbar. By the way, I love your what you put on Instagram for screen time.
Oh yeah,
Doing little clips?
Tried little clips.
sick.
Yeah, that's
Talking about Dune, actually.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, hopefully this will get us a little bit more interest and traction.
Yeah, check him out.
But check out the reels that
Mhm.
we put out 3 different ones the last week. And but yeah, so excited to talk about Dune Part 2 next week. Until then, catch you guys later.